hear me properly, everybody? Assalamu alaikum. My name is Aroma, which is pretty much something to show you. We start with the two best friends, the realtor and the lender. If you're a loan buyer, then the lender is going to be your best friend. Why? Because we both work towards what is your best interest. If you're a cash buyer, that's a different story. We're going to talk on the side with it. Now, being me, the lender, and he's the realtor, and the lender he's gonna come and talk about his portion. Now, when we are talking about a realtor, if you are buying a home in the United States, I know that we have colleagues and friends and sisters and brothers from overseas. If you're buying in the United States, the first thing you start with one or the two. If you come to me as a realtor, I will guide you. I will ask you a few questions initially of what you can do and how you do it. And I will ask you preliminary questions. That is whether how much you have as far as, set on the side, finances, if you're going to be, what is your credit score, anything related to the purchasing of home. For example, also as well, if you are pre-approved or not, and the lender, I believe he is arriving, Brother Hashem from UIF. So you have Brother Asif here. So Brother, of course, Hashem is going to take care of his portion as far as being a lender. And definitely, if you are to be an Islamic way, Brother Hashem is going to cover that. I've closed multiple files with Brother Hashem. He gave them an excellent rate as far as, the interest rate and the loan amount. Now, regarding my portion as a realtor, I will be asking you those preliminary questions as far as the what is your loan amount, or if you are pre-approved. And if you are not pre-approved, what are you looking for? And if you're looking to do, for example, Islamic lending, if you are going to be with your bank or other kind of finances, we're going to be having that conversation. And if you are to be the Islamic lending, definitely I will refer you to Brother Hashem. Having said that, the next step after Brother Hashem approves you and speak with you and find all the details and all the paperwork that he needs from you, he will give me something called pre-approval letter. We take that and we find out exactly what is your loan amount. And then after that, we go shopping. In other words, we go out into going out and looking at homes. Of course, preliminary, before that, I will send you a list of homes that you can look at and choose from, depending on the city, the loan amount, and features you want in the house. 2 bedrooms, it's different from 3, from 4, and 5 bedrooms. Having said that, based on this, and we will go shopping or looking at homes or viewing. Then we're gonna go and put, offers, which is gonna be the contract. I'm using visuals. We're gonna do an offer, which is the contract. What's that?
Closer to the microphone, please.
Closer?
Yes.
I'm loud enough.
No, that was
Oh, really? I'm so sorry. Okay.
Maybe you can move your chair a little bit.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to have less audience.
Okay. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, sounds better. Okay, great. Now, with the contract, we put an offer. Once it is accepted, then we move on to the next step, which is what? We will have 3 days in the beginning. We have 3 days. And the first 3 days, we have to send 3 checks or 2 checks. One is a called option check for the seller. And of course, I'm going to go into details once we get into that, but we're crunching our time because of the time being and salah. And then the earnest money to the title company, and we start the inspection period. Now, having said that, and then once we go to we have an approved loan, or with an approved contract, we send the contract to the lender, in this case, Brother Hashem, if we're going to do the Islamic way or the Islamic loan. And after that, we start the inspection period, and we find out exactly what is lacking or what is good in the house, what needs to be repaired. And based on that, we and then he will appraise the house, what is the value of the house. Based on that, because we will not lend you more than that. Of course, definitely, if you were appraisal at or above asking price, or the asking price, you are good to go. But if it is lower, then we're going to be negotiating with the seller on how much we can negotiate, or if they can lower the price, or other many details we're going to be discussing based on that. And then Brother Hashem, of course, he continues with his work as far as getting the loan. He will need 30 days to close. And after that, once everything's said and done, of course, there's a lot of details in between, but I did not want to crunch it up for you guys. And after that, we will go to the title. We go towards the end of the days, we will go into closing, which is we go to a title company and then we close the deal. You sign and they sign, the buyer signs, the seller signs, they take their money, you take your keys and you go home. This is in a nutshell the process says. And of course, apparently, if you are to choose, we're gonna leave some time for Q&A, and I'll leave the floor to Brother Hashem to continue with his portion. Yes, sir.
بسم الله اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. جزاك الله خير Sister Aroma for this good explanation, mashallah. So to make it very quick, inshallah, I'll just make a quick explanation about Islamic financing and how is it different from the conventional lending. Let me correct initially some, I would say, misconceptions or some wrong terminologies that we used to use, like let's say loan, Islamic loan. There's nothing called Islamic loan actually, it's Islamic finance. I mean, the loan in the Islam, the only permissible loan is the Tarq al-Hasan. They call it Tarq Hasan, which is, you give someone as a kind of support and you just get the same amount back. There shouldn't be any benefit to you. So that's the only loan. So there is no Islamic loan in terms of financing. It's a kind of purchasing or another type of transactions that we will go through, inshallah, as much as possible. So one more thing is the interest. Of course, there is no interest involved in the Islamic financing. It's I'll try to go through that as well, because Islamic financing is not a charity at the end. It's not like non-profit organizations. It's a business, but they try to fulfill your needs without going into an interest-based transactions. So at the end, the investors, whoever is owning this business or investing their funds through it, they need to make some profit. But through the halal, providing the halal products. So Islamic financing is all about avoiding riba. It's about how can we help someone who doesn't have enough cash to buy a product without lending him money and charging him riba or interest on it. So there is many actually products that were developed during the last maybe 50 years, I would say, or so, to find ways out in a way where it does not compromise, of course, our vision. So I would say the main principle, in my opinion, is that there should be some product involved in the transaction. So in Islamic financing, it's hard to see someone giving cash. When there is cash involved, like when you go to the Islamic bank, for example, and you get cash, there's ways. I'm not saying there is no ways, but at least from my own, humble point of view, this would be something that has a lot of question mark there. I'm not saying it's haram. Scholars has approved that. There's the warro, there's many products that are allow you to get cash. But in general, the safest way is just to deal through a product. So you say, let's say you want to buy a car, and the Islamic bank will go and you say, okay, I will not lend you the money to buy this car and charge interest. I will go and buy this car for you, with you promising me to buy it from me. So I'm taking the risk of buying this car, and then I will sell it to you on installments. And of course, I will make my profit by increasing the price of the car, which is fine. Even though, you could have bought it in cash, let's say for $60,000, and I sell it to you for, let's say, $80,000. That doesn't make it riba. That doesn't make it haram for me, because I'm a trader. I'm buying and selling. I'm taking the risk of having this car not sold, even though I know that you are going to buy it, but I have another risk which you don't pay me. What if for any reason you are not able to pay me back? or to pay me the price. So that's the permissible way that we go through your needs. You want to buy a car, we can buy it and sell it to you, or we can, let's say, buy it and rent it out to you. That's another way. And now we are talking about the home financing. So the main products would be actually, it's similar, like we have the murabaha, which is the installment sale. So we buy the home and we sell it to you after we mark it up with our profit. So that's one method. We call it murabaha. I do represent UIF. UIF is stands for University Islamic Financial. It was established almost 15 years back in Michigan, based on the needs of the Muslim community there. They started this with a small group of people, and alhamdulillah, it expanded to cover most of the states now, alhamdulillah ta'ala. So we have the maximum number, I would say, of products. We have the murabaha that I explained about just now. We just buy the home and we sell it to you on installments after we mark it up with our profit. So let's say the home price is 150, we buy it for 150 and we sell it to you for 225 over, let's say, 15 years or 20 years based on our agreement. So agreement would be having a lump sum amount. So you are going to buy this home from us for 225 over 15 years payment, regardless when you would be paying off. You may finish it in 10 years or in 25 years, it will remain to be 225. That's the total price, which make this product not very much kind of favorite to the buyers, because many people, or most of the people, they don't take the whole time to pay it off or to complete the payments. They may pay it off faster and they are expecting to give them some discount, which we do. But as per the contract of the murabaha, we are not obligated to. We have a lump sum agreement that this is the sale price. You agreed on that. You have to pay it. Even if you come tomorrow and you want to pay off, you have to pay the full amount as per the agreement. We still do give discount, and there is a qaida shahriya, there is a rule called where if someone is paying a debt earlier to its due date, so the seller or the lender, I'm talking about halal debt, of course. The lender is let's say, encouraged to give him a discount. Okay, you come pay me now and I'll give you a discount. I'll make down the outstanding. So we can do that. But again, and we do that, by the way. All Islamic banks, they do that. Otherwise, they would be out of the market. Most likely, it would be too difficult on people to accept that. However, this is one product. The other product, which is more common here in the US, it's called musharaka, partnership, through which we actually partner in the ownership of the property. So you go, you say, I want to buy this home for 150, and I have only 50,000 in my pocket. We say, okay, that's fine. We'll go into partnership agreement. We'll buy it with you. You pay 50, we'll pay 100,000. And we'll have a partnership agreement through which we reflect our share like that. We own 60%, 66%, you own 33%. And according to this agreement, you have to pay us a rent on our share because we are not using the home. So we said we will agree with you that you pay us rent on our share. And down the road, you also buy out our share gradually until you become the only owner, and then the rent will stop. So ultimately, the quicker you pay, the less rent you pay as well. So that makes it more permissible to the customer. When he brings more and he pays more, he's buying more shares, and accordingly, he is paying off earlier and saving money. He's not paying rent to us, which is our profit actually. Okay, so these are the main two products. I don't want to expand in explanation, inshallah, to save time for the questions and answers. There is also lease to own, which is similar to musharaka. In general, the way that we collect our profit, as per the regulators here in the US, we have to reflect it through a percentage. So again, this could be a misconception. People think any percentage is haram. If I tell you 5%, oh, that's a riba. I mean, you can go and buy something with a percentage discount or percentage profit. Doesn't make it riba at the end, I mean, riba, they use percentage, but that doesn't mean that each percentage reflects riba. So we reflect our profit or rent to a percentage. So, and another misconception that I want to clear here is that people think that Islamic financing is always more expensive, which is wrong actually. It used to be, that's true. It used to be maybe 8 years back and before, that's true. But from 8 years till now, I would say it's very, very competitive. Sometimes even we are lower cost than conventional banks. I have seen this myself actually. So it's very competitive now. I don't see any reason for any person now not to go to Islamic financing. I think this is like a hujjah on him the options are available. If you want to buy a home, just do it the halal way. If you are feeling, you know, you are not very comfortable with Islamic financing, that's fine. You just don't buy the home itself then until you have it in cash. But subhanAllah, I feel that, I mean, it's part of the shaitan, where he starts throwing, you know, doubts in your mind about Islamic financing. You know, it's the same, they're saying percentage, they are doing this, you are paying the same, maybe you are paying more, why to go for them? It's the same, just go to conventional bank. So they go to the exact riba, the riba itself, that there's no doubt about it. It's riba, which is among the biggest, you know, haram things in the Islam, just because they have doubt about Islamic financing. Okay, keep your doubts. If you don't want to go with something that you are doubtful of, just don't buy at all. I have customers who were living here for 25 years, they didn't buy a home. Then they get, subhanAllah, last year I closed one guy, I mean, he came in his house. Now I'm comfortable. He checked with some scholars, checked with Sheikh Muhammad Sulaiman, who is like our customer actually, Sheikh, many scholars. I mean, I don't know if we are all familiar with most of them from different states as well. So they have endorsed this, and alhamdulillah ta'ala, people are comfortable about it. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you have anything that makes you not feel comfortable, that doesn't mean, you know, okay, then I'll go to the riba. You know, if I feel not very sure about something being halal, not halal, so I will go immediately to this, something that is 100% haram. So yeah, it's the cost-wise, it's very similar, alhamdulillah. And as Sister just mentioned, we need, like, initially the first step we need to do is to come to us to get you pre-qualified, so we can see how much you can get approved for. And we run your credit, we check your income, of course, and then you go, inshallah, and start looking for a home with your real estate agent, Sister Aroma, for example. And once you find that home, you turn back the contract to us, where we start our actual process. That takes like another 30 days to have you fully approved, and then you can move, inshallah. I'm done, I think, for now. If you have any questions.
I was going to ask a question. You actually answered. I wanted a little clarification on that. Ultimately, when you give us the statement at the end of the year for tax purpose, it has to be exactly the interest-based statement. That's like in law here. So you have two different interface. One side you are doing that, another side you are providing us to the best of their ability. I'm okay with that. My question is about this competitiveness. So when you convert that into the interest at the end of the year, so how does that compare with the conventional loan? If I were to, which I would not, if I were to go with a conventional bank and get the haram riba, so this is for informational purpose. I would not go for haram anyway. It's less expensive. So how does it really compare the rate?
Okay. So the brother is asking how to compare our profit rate to the interest rate, because we, at the end of the year, we send you a form called 1098 that reflects how much interest you have paid to us. Actually, we know that you're not paying interest to us. This is our revenue, this is our profit. The Islamic financing is not recognized in the US, it's not officially available. So the government, the entities, the IRA, the IRS, they do not recognize something called profit or lease to own or rent. So we cannot give you some form that shows it's rent. If you give you rent, they will not deduct it from your taxes. So we use the same conventional forms when it comes to IRS documentation, some regulator forms. So we still see the word interest. Now, mathematical or accounting-wise, it works the same way, because we do the amortization schedule, amortization the same way that the interest-based transaction with conventional banks, they do the accounting. Unfortunately, but this is how the Islamic banks, most of the organizations, like in the world itself, I've been working out of the US as well. So that's how they use it, accounting-wise. So when we give you, like, let's say, a profit rate of, let's say, 3.25, and Bank of Wells Fargo is giving you 3.375, for example. So that means, I mean, you can compare it apple to apple, actually, because at the end, we can, when we do the calculation for the monthly payment, it goes in the same way. When the accounting wise, how much goes to the rent, how much goes to the outstanding, it goes in the same way of principal and interest. But again, this does not change the actual agreement, which is sales or partnership. But the numbers goes in the same way. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, that was my question. That used to be, as you mentioned, 8 years ago, used to be Islamic financing would have a higher percentage of interest when you convert it to interest for the reporting purpose. Like I had bought a house from Lariba, and in my statement, it would be like 6.75% was the interest rate at that time for Lariba. And other banks, if I went to the regular Haram bank, which I would not, then I would get probably less than 5%, 4.7%. So it's not the case anymore.
It's not the case anymore. No. If you go to conventional bank, they may give you, let's say, 3.2, they may give you 3.3 or 3.1 sometimes.
That was in 2006.
Yeah. Before that was.
And just to really follow up on this note, I deal with everybody, meaning, Muslims and non-Muslims. And I referred one of my clients who was non-Muslim, and actually I referred him to Dulan lenders with my due respect. And literally he got with Hashem a better rate, better interest rate, better loan amount than the other. And he was fine. He doesn't care who to go with as long as he gets a better rate and a better. He was very astonished, actually. He was very excited that he got that rate.
Yes, if it is comparable.
Substantially above the other lender, so which is phenomenal. So yeah, this is one of the points.
Great to hear about.
Any questions?
Does the profit rate accrue like the interest rate accrues, or does it stay the same?
It's fixed. Can you say the question again?
Does the profit rate grow, or does it stay the same, like the interest rate grows and stuff?
Wow.
But I'm saying, like, if you borrow the money, you get the money Islamically, pay the same profit rate. I'm saying, like, if you have a $500, just to fix. Let's say there's a $500 profit margin on the loan from the Islamic source. Does it stay $500, or over time does it get bigger? Like interest rate get bigger.
Okay, so actually there is no fixed rate anymore. There is no interest rate. We agree right away on the lump sum amount. So we do not lend you money. Let's say you buy the home for 150, we sell it to you for 200,000, and that's it. It's fixed. It will never go up. So we fix it from day one, and that's it. It's one amount. Yeah, it's not fluctuating. It cannot change down the road.
But if somebody pays you earlier, then he wouldn't have to pay rent for too long. So that he would save money. Is that?
Yes, under the Musharaka, yes, for lease to own, yes. You will save money if you pay off the.
What about bad credit?
Oh, a good question. Bad credit. Actually, we do into credit up to 620 or starting from 620. If that was less than this, then we may, it depends, it's case to case. It depends on what's bad there. It's big topic. If he has like bankruptcy in the last 7 years or foreclosure, that may be very difficult. If he has many disputes on his credit, that may be difficult. But if it's just bad because of some collections account, especially medical, it doesn't have a big impact and he may still be qualified. However, credit is not a static thing, it keeps changing. So if it's bad today, tomorrow or after tomorrow, it could be improved and it will be at the end improved. So I used to work with people with bad credit. So I start with them and then after a few months we keep touching base until they improve their credit. I pull it again and try it and it goes.
But they will have to pay more because they have bad credit or.
Most likely we do consider a higher risk for bad credit. Everybody expect a higher income out of that. Yeah.
And of course, we send you into credit repair until you improve your credit, and then that's where the process where the realtor and the buyer will be in contact together because of the fact that we monitor along the way with you until you are ready to go and continue with the lender.
But to fix your credit, you have to buy things from other things in order to fix, and they will put you on riba.
Not always. It depends. It depends. If you have collections account, you just need to pay off lease or to get rid of it or to lower your utilization of credit. It's case to case, actually. You don't have to get new credit lines most of the time.
Any questions?
Will you be available after the prayer? If someone wants to talk to one-on-one, have any
Yes.
question maybe?
Yeah,
Any
maybe,
brother,
sure.
sister, anyone?
Indeed, yes.
So
And we
that-
have also our cards, brother
Yeah, I have
Hashem
my
is gonna, and I have my cards in here, and we're gonna be available after the prayer. Any questions? We're ready for you guys.
Yes, because that's probably the most effective one, because many of us may be wanting to buy a house at this time.
Yes.
So maybe wanted to have a question of his or her own.
Indeed.
And they may want to ask you personally.
Yeah, why not?
Sisters, any questions? In the back? Brothers?
Nobody's trying to buy a house here?
But by the way, we do finance masjid as well. We do finance commercial as well. If any one of you wants to buy like a store, a restaurant, any real estate, as a commercial, we can finance that as well, including masajid. We have financed that now.
Anybody have any other question? Please ask.
We make it as simple, as soft as possible. It might be looking very overwhelming or complicated process, but we make it, it's my job as a realtor to make it as smooth as possible. I know we're working with your finances, with your emotions, with your, literally, it's a long-term decision. That is your money. So we make it as simple as soon, even though it's a lengthy process, but it's our job, me and the lender, to make it as smooth as possible and as easy as possible. So trust us on this. We are your best friends. Inshallah. Hayakallah.